Good evening and welcome. I'm Edna Turnblad. Please have a seat, have a seat. No, seriously, guys, hello. My name is Bradley, and as you see, I am currently playing Edna in a show called Hairspray, the musical. Edna Turnblad, better known as Mama to some of us. But let's talk a little bit about this series. As you see from the title, this series is called Becoming Mama, one actor's journey to becoming Edna Turnblad. And what I'm going to do in this series is I'm going to talk about the journey that I'm going to take as an actor to be playing such a wonderful, complex character. I love this character. I also love this show. So the first thing we're going to do in this very first episode is we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Hairspray. But first, also, I'm going to explain a few things that you're going to see in this video series. You'll see us, I'm going to try to take us to a choreography rehearsal, and we'll talk a little bit about the choreography, maybe we'll interview the choreographer, people like that. We're going to also be seeing some interviews of some of the actors in the show, and things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. The whole show is double cast, so I may even do an interview with the other guy who's playing Mama, and things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I know the directors agreed to do an interview. The young lady playing Tracy with me is going to be doing it as well. So let me explain a little bit about Hairspray to me. I love Hairspray, and I've always wanted to do this show. It's one of my dream roles for a long time. And one of the most amazing things about this show to me right now is that I'm currently playing in this show with my best friend in real life, who's playing my daughter, Tracy Turnblad, as well as another one of my really dear friends who's playing my husband, Wilbur, as well as another friend of mine who's playing Corny Collins. So I'm getting to work with some of my amazingly talented friends who I've directed. I directed most of them in my own production of Hairspray, which you see behind me if you can see the poster. I directed Hairspray myself, so I've done this show as a director. So it's the first time I've ever done it as an actor, so I'm a little bit nervous. I've actually directed a lot of musicals, I've just never really been in one for a long, long time. So let's talk a little bit about Hairspray. So Hairspray is about a young woman named Tracy Turnblad. Actually, she's a teenager. She's about 16, 17 years old. She's a typical high school girl in the 60s. She's a little overweight girl, very stout girl, I would like to say in the show. But Tracy has big dreams, and she believes that nothing can get in her way of her dreams, her size or nothing. She has big hair. She keeps jacking her hair up, making it bigger and bigger and bigger. She just wants to be big. She loves it. So she has a dream of dancing on the Corny Collins show. And Tracy works very, very hard to fulfill her dream, and she does get to be on the show. She even gets the guy, Link Larkin, who is the hunk of the show. And so there's all these wonderful, wonderfully written, fun characters in Hairspray that you meet along the way, like Tracy's mama, Edna, or Tracy's dad, Wilbur, or Velma Von Tussle, who's the villain of the show, Amber Von Tussle, who's also the villain, and of course, as I said, Link Larkin, the hunk of the show. All Motormouth Maybelle, the African-American character who helps lead a protest in the show, because it takes place right in the middle of segregation, and I think that's the biggest thing of what Hairspray is about. It's about the segregation and the acceptance of the whites versus the blacks in Baltimore in the 60s. Tracy and Motormouth Maybelle actually lead a riot to a beautiful song called There's a Light. Gosh, I'm saying like, there's a light in the distance. It's called I Know Where I've Been. My goodness. Ugh. But anyway, I love that song, guys. But let's talk a little bit about Hairspray, because Hairspray was not always a musical. So let's go back to the beginning. Hairspray actually started out as a John Waters film. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with John Waters, but John Waters is a film director who did a lot of films in the early 70s and the 80s. Very avant-garde, very bizarre films, but I loved them. And most of them starred a drag queen named Divine. And so all of his stories told some sort of point. And when he made Hairspray, it was more about segregation and standing up and for equal rights and all of that stuff that Hairspray represented at the time he did it. And it was also a kind of a propaganda of a lot of the dance shows and dealing with body issues and so many things that are covered in this show. And Tracy is such an amazing character to play for any young girl to play, because she says so much in this show, her character. But it started out, as I said, as a film, and the original film starred Ricki Lake as Tracy Turnblad. She was amazing. It starred Divine as her mother, Edna. It starred Jerry Stiller as her father, Wilbur Turnblad. It starred Deborah Harry, better known for the band Blondie, as Velma Von Tussle. It starred Sonny Bono, of the very famous Sonny and Cher, as Velma's husband, Mr. Von Tussle. It starred Ruth Brown as Motormouth Maybelle. So it was a low budget film, but it did pretty well. People really enjoyed it. And I remember, and I still love it, by the way, and I remember watching it and thinking, gosh, this would have been such a better musical. because it fit to the musical thing. Well, lo and behold, y'all, they made it into a musical. Hairspray, the musical. And the first time I was like, oh my gosh, and I remember I was directing a play, and somebody told me about it, and I said I would love to hear the CD. So one of my actors actually went to the mall in their town and bought the CD and brought it to me at rehearsal the next day. And I remember getting in my car and listening to the very first song called Good Morning Baltimore and being like, oh my God, I love the music in this show. So the play starred Marissa Jarrett Warnecker. Gosh, that's a harsh name to say. She, if you don't know who she is, was the young woman who just won Celebrity Big Brother this year here in the USA. It also starred one of my idols in theater, Harvey Fierstein, as Edna. And the reason that Edna has continued to be played by a man, let me hold here, is because when they went to make it into a musical, John Waters agreed, but only if Edna always be played by a man in tribute to Divine, who has passed away. So this is sort of a tribute to Divine. So Harvey Fierstein, as I said, played Mama. And Harvey, you may know him from Independence Day or Mrs. Doubtfire. He had some great lines like, let me call my mother, or honey, I'm so happy. But he played Mama. It also starred Linda Hart as Velma Von Tussle, and it starred Matthew Morrison, who many of you will know from Glee. He played Mr. Shue as Link Larkin. And Carrie Butler as Penny, who is Tracy's little dingy best friend. I love the character of Tracy. She's so fun. The play did incredibly well. It won lots of Tonys. Lots of people stepped into the role of Edna, played Edna. It's just, it was awesome. The play was so awesome. People loved it. It won a ton of Tonys, including Best Musical. It won a Best Actor for Harvey Fierstein, and it also won Best Actress for Marissa. So it was just huge. Well, then they remade the movie, well, it wasn't actually a remake. They made the musical into another film, and it starred Nikki Blonsky this time as Tracy Turnblad. And this was in the mid-2000s. And it starred Nikki, as I said, Nikki Blonsky, and she's probably one of my favorite Tracys. I loved her as Tracy. I think she's just adorable. It starred Zac Efron as Link Larkin. It starred Amanda Bynes as Penny. It starred Queen Latifah as Motormouth Maybelle. She was phenomenal. It starred Michelle Pfeiffer as the villain, Velma Von Tussle. It starred Brittany Snow as Amber Von Tussle. And most of all, it starred Christopher Walken as Mr. Turnblad. And it starred John Travolta as the Mama, Edna. So that movie came out. It was huge. People loved it. Everybody became familiar with the Hairspray. Oh, we love Hairspray, we love Hairspray, we love Hairspray. The music kicked off. Had such great songs. Everybody was just singing the songs. And then they did it again on NBC last year, actually about a year and a half ago, called Hairspray Live. And that starred Mally Balio as Tracy Turnblad. It starred Garrett Clayton as Link Larkin. It starred Dove Cameron as Amber Von Tussle. It starred Kristen Chenoweth of Broadway as Velma Von Tussle. It starred the incredible Jennifer Hudson as Motormouth Maybelle. And it starred, of course, Martin Short as Daddy, and it brought back to the stage the one and only Harvey Fierstein as Mama. So Hairspray has been done so many times, so many ways. It is such a beloved story. It's one of my favorite stories. And the character of Edna is such a beautiful and brilliant and complex character who's been played by so many actors. And in the next edition, I'm going to do Becoming Edna. So stick around for that, guys. Love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.